This is the Washington Times front page for Monday, December 4th, 2023. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm George Gerbo. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says that the wars raging in the Middle East and Europe underscore global dangers without robust U.S. leadership on the world stage. Guy Taylor reports Austin said today's challenges are multifold and include the major conflicts facing our fellow democracies, Israel and Ukraine, bullying and coercion from an increasingly assertive China, and a worldwide battle between democracy and autocracy. Austin made the remarks at a defense forum over the weekend in California. He also pressed Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Jack Reed and others to pass a full-year defense budget and not to fall back on a stopgap funding bill. The digital war between Hamas and Israel didn't let up during the 7-day pause in fighting on the ground. Ben Wolfgang reports some specialists have dubbed the fight the YouTube war. Hamas seems to have spent nearly as much time and energy planning its public relations war as it did on its October 7th surprise attack on Israel. Israel, apparently caught flat-footed by those propaganda videos, has countered with videos to explain their military actions in detail and the reasons they are necessary. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has struggled to recreate momentum he had from last year's midterms ahead of the Iowa caucuses. Seth McLaughlin reports DeSantis had tried to do it with old-fashioned retail politicking, but his support in Iowa polls has sunk from 28% to 17% since he entered the race in May. Donald Trump's support grew from 40% to 47% in Iowa over that period. At campaign stops over the weekend, Trump said DeSantis is struggling because he lacks a personality. The Supreme Court is scheduled to hear arguments in a case where one family is rejecting a more than $6 billion bankruptcy settlement from Purdue Pharma that would shield the family that owns the drug company from civil liabilities. Alex Warrior reports Ellen Isaacs, whose son died of an opioid overdose, has joined the Justice Department in opposing the deal pending before the Supreme Court. The deal would protect the Sackler family, which made $11 billion from creating and distributing the opioid OxyContin, from further lawsuits. The key issue is whether Purdue Pharma's Chapter 11 restructuring plans can provide immunity for the Sacklers themselves, none of whom has filed for bankruptcy protection. Isaac says the proposed settlement doesn't guarantee that she would receive any compensation for the loss of her son. The House of Representatives broke new ground Friday as it voted to expel embattled New York Representative George Santos. Alex Miller reports Santos was overwhelmingly ousted on a supermajority vote, 311 to 114. Santos admitted to fabricating major parts of his biography and was indicted on 23 charges of conspiracy, fraud, false records and statements, and identity theft. He has yet to go to trial, but an ethics committee report helped provide the final straw for many lawmakers to vote for his expulsion. He's only the sixth House member to be expelled in the chamber's 2-century-plus history, and the first without being convicted of a crime or having been a member of the Confederacy. Many ethics groups said they hope the move shows a House more willing to police bad behavior without waiting for the wheels of justice to grind to a conclusion. And finally, the market for illegally trafficked human organs is small but growing, and at least some of the supply appears to be provided by traffickers who target migrants trying to reach the United States. Stephen Dinan reports the size of the trafficking market is a guessing game. How much is fueled by kidnapped migrants is even tougher to pinpoint, though, like sex trafficking, migrants likely account for only a fraction. Also, like sex trafficking, when organs are taken from migrants, it's usually on the periphery of the smuggling economy. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. You can also find us on social media at Watch Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.